Shalom. I'm writing about this new Pew Research study of American Jewry and the overwhelmingly major finding that American Jews are on the brink of a massive generational shift in identity and practice. And the major reason is that young Jews are likely to say they have no religion despite saying they are Jewish. Now, what's interesting about that really is that there is no word for religion in Judaism. Religion is this American concept, or the way in which other people divide themselves around the world, Christian, Muslim. But for Jews, there's peoplehood. The Bible talks about Mamlechet Kohanim, a nation of priests, Am Kadosh, a holy nation. There's no word for religion in the Bible. We have Emunah, which is faith, but Judaism itself is a way of life. It's a peoplehood. It's a civilization. It's a culture. And part of the brilliance of Reconstructionism, which never caught on as a denomination, is Mordechai Kaplan's understanding of that idea, Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan, and that Jews should really identify themselves as a civilization, and that we have religious sancta, religious articles like a Torah that most Jews still venerate. We have religious books, religious documents, religious items, mezuzahs, tefillin, talis, kippah, kiddush cup, candlesticks. But that most American Jews reject traditional theological statements. It says here that only 19% believe in Jewish law, only less than 15% say that eating Jewish food is important to being Jewish. I mean, most Jews reject traditional Jewish theological principles and Jewish law. And here's what they do. Because of that, they say, I'm not religious. Now, that is a very dangerous thing. First of all, Judaism has never been about religion. But when you say you're not religious, then what do your kids say? Eventually, logically, they say we have no religion. We're Jews, no religion. And for them, that means to check out. But for example, so there's been a massive hike and spike in intermarriage, especially among those who say they have no religion. And the consequences of intermarried, even though there are some examples of intermarried couples living Jewish lives, that for the most part they don't, according to these studies. But part of the danger, I think, is when Jews who aren't completely observant of the mitzvot, which most American Jews are not, start saying, I'm not religious. And I can't tell you how many people say to me, Rabbi, I'm not religious, but they may go to service on the holidays. That most American Jews adults still fast on Yom Kippur. 3/4 of American Jews still attend a Passover Seder. They do some things that are part of the Jewish religion, Jewish religious practice, but they say they're not religious. So how about saying I don't observe all the mitzvot, but use religious language? I'm not completely observant. But even identifying as the belief in one God, that's a mitzvah. You're doing something religious there. Adhering to the 10 Commandments, loving your neighbor as yourself, honoring your parents. Those are all mitzvot. You're doing religious things. So I think one of the major problems is the language we use. We say we're not religious. Embrace the things you do that are Jewish things, and say to your kids and your grandchildren, I'm a Jew and I do these things. These are mitzvot. Use religious language. That's a big part of the challenge, I believe. I mean, there's a lot of explanations for this. I mean, the fastest growing group in America, too, are people that say they have no religion. There's a wide range of unchurched and unreligious people. And then on the other extreme, you go to the extremes in Islam, the extremes in Christianity, the extremes in Judaism. To the poles, you get religious people who clearly say they observe the religious principles of their religion. But on the other hand, there's a big movement in Judaism and in America in general in the opposite way. But stop saying I'm not religious. Try and use Jewish religious language. It said here that many Jews have a Christmas tree, which I think is bizarre. A Christmas tree is clearly an identification with Christianity. It's not just an American thing. But a lot of those are Russians, because Stalin said it's not a Christmas tree, it's a national tree, holiday tree. But there are still American Jewish families that have Christmas trees. A lot of them are intermarried. But even so, no matter even if you do that, if you still have Jewish holidays in your life, Jewish things in your life, say I live Jewish life, I observe mitzvot. Stop saying I'm not religious. Unless there is not a single mitzvah you do all year, none, zero. You don't love your neighbor as yourself. You don't honor your parents. Nothing. Whatever you do Jewishly. I once did a survey of a 10th grade group, confirmation class, and I said, how many of you don't have any ham or pork in your house? half the kids. I said, why? They said, because our parents don't like it. I said, no. It's not why you don't have ham or pork in your house. It's because they're observing some of the Jewish kashrut laws. Maybe not all of them. They wouldn't say they have a kosher home. Only 2 kids in the class did. But they should say to you, we don't have ham or pork in our house because it's a Jewish thing not to have ham or pork in your house. And embrace that. Okay, so my main message here, stop saying I'm not religious. You don't have to apologize. Say I'm Jewish. I observe some of the mitzvot, not all of them. That's the language we should be using. Shalom.